the hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I have some very special magic for you today. Um, he's a fangsmith. He's an impresario. He is my best friend. He is my travel buddy. He is my red carpet buddy. And he is my vampire leader, the one and only Father Sebastian. Welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great, Patty. It's good to see you after going to Pace this morning.
I know. It's like I see you every single day of my life, just about, which is awesome. But it's nice to have you here. You haven't done the show in a while, and it's good to have you back on. So thank you.
My
Because I
pleasure.
thought, it's everybody knows my witchy side, everybody knows my this and that side, but people sometimes get confused by my vampire side because a lot of people, again, have very interesting perceptions of what vampires are and aren't. And we know there's many, many kinds of vampires. I'm going to give our origin story, then I'm going to hand it over to you. We met, oh
Okay.
my God, about 2017, I think, on the
Mhm.
set of Ghost Adventures. I did not know anybody was there because I'm always in the dark, literally. And introduced you. You were passed out on the floor underneath Bella Lugosi's mirror, um, being spirit splat, and we became immediate friends. And I do remember that we just hit it off, and that you did offer to fang me, and I'm like, well, he's really cute, but my idea of vampires, I just didn't know what they were, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be like a psychic vampire the way I knew the word, or this vampire. I'm like, no. But I started reading your books. I started reading. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is magic. This is beautiful magic. This is my kind of magic, and it does not interfere at all with my witchy world or my good witchy world even. And my favorite thing to say is that the difference of my witchy world and my vampire world is in the cloaks. Witchy world is organic cotton or Stevie Nicks lace, and my vampire world is the finest of black velvet with a red silk or satin lining. So anyway, so tell us a little bit about first your origin story. How did this happen? How did you literally become internationally known, doing events, beautiful vampire events all over the world, all over the country? How did this come about?
Well, it all started in 1991 when my mom was in my kitchen, or I was in her kitchen. She told me Tom Cruise was losing weight to be a vampire, and I think I was 15 years old, and I was like, "Wow, that's cool." And my mom was like in the horror movies and stuff, and she was a latent psychic. And what happened was is that sat in the back of my head, and I got involved in the Vampire the Masquerade role playing games because I was looking for vampire lifestyle people. And the LARPers turned out to be a very, very different community than what I was looking for. But I was having a great time because you could take the role of a vampire in a Vampire the Masquerade game. And in the early embryonic stages of the vampire community, those games became a masquerade for lifestyle vampires to meet, kind of like the hanky code was for the gay community. So I went on a, a quest in the LARP scene. I'd started a company called Gothic Chronicles in 1993, and I was having a blast. But it wasn't what I was quite looking for. So I ended up dating a girl named Dawn. You'll find out about her in my memoirs, which is coming out. Interview with the Living Vampire, Sebastian, probably next year in 2026. And I
Nice.
write my whole history story of the 90s up until the point where I met in my mom's kitchen to the closing of a nightclub called Mother, which was very dear to the vampire community. But Dawn wanted fangs for the prom. And I went to my grandfather and I asked him, Grandpa, can you make me fangs for the prom? And he looked at me like, Are you a Satanist? No. So my aunt, having mercy on me, referred me to a dentist in Bedminster, New Jersey. And I can't like repeat his name because he doesn't want to be associated with the vampire culture. But he had a freaky side,
Mm.
and he taught me how to make fangs. And after getting my fangs with Dawn, and what a memorable experience that was on the first Sunday, I think November 3rd, 1993, I got my first pair of fangs, was a miracle. I had a transformative experience that I like want to relive. So I learned how to make fangs over the next year and a half. And Dawn and I went to our prom as vampires. We went into New York City afterwards. And I learned enough from the doctor, the dentist, the prosthodontist. Then once I did that, I started making fangs, but I needed a subject to test it out on. So I went to my mom, and on Christmas Day 1994, I made my mom my first pair of fangs. Now, one thing about fangs that is really important to know is it's a form of magic. Okay. Just like many things, you can make magic with an IC or an ICK. The fang making is an art form that transforms people, it alters people. And not everybody comes and gets the full works because they just want fangs for a cosplay or a movie or something like that. But there's these special people, okay, that come to me, and the energy exchange of me sharing I get to relive that fang making experience every day that I make fangs. Every time I make fangs, I get to transform people, and fangs represent four things. Well, five. They're obviously a vampire aesthetic. First, they're a mask, just like you're putting on a Halloween mask. Second, they're a connection to your primal nature. Third, they're a magic trick. So they're so real to you and so real to the person that's wearing them that it's an illusion that you both share. Okay. And finally, they're a sex toy. And I don't want to know about people's personal lives, but they are registered sex toys. So be careful, like a lethal
Wow,
sex toy or a lethal weapon.
that's
So everybody wants to
awesome.
know. Everybody wants to know what it's like to kiss with fangs on.
Yeah. It takes practice. Just speaking from experience. Talking takes a little practice. Speaking takes a little practice. But that makes it, and it is that spiritual experience for me, what it was. I have an acting background. So when you were talking about masks, like Halloween mask, in Acting 101, whether you're taking it in your college class or whatever, one of the first things you learn is mask work because it psychologically, as everything does something different. You put on a mask and you have a freedom. You're not yourself anymore. You don't have to be yourself. You don't have your own personal limitations. And then to put what you have, to put the vampire aesthetic onto it, the animal aesthetic on it, it really is an experience.
Absolutely. And it's theatrical. And that's what I love about it is it's theatrical. So people can take it as far as they want to. You know,
Yeah, it's beautiful. So what about again the magical side of the ritual side of I know you don't we don't talk about a lot about it, but where did that come from? If you were this literal kid, a high school kid when you started, you had an experience with that. Did the spirituality part of it, the magic, it's very similar to pagan witchcraft in a lot of ways. It's very ceremonial in a lot of ways. It's very chaos magic. Did that just develop over the years?
that developed over the years. The first thing is the Fang Oath is something that is really important because you will never forget what it's like to get your fangs, um, or how to take care of your fangs after that. And the people put their hands up like rock and roll, and they say, "By the power of Sebastian, I will not eat with my fangs on. I will not sleep with my fangs on. I'll have great sex with my fangs on. I can smoke and drink with my fangs on, and I won't look in the mirror until I get permission. And I will take my pinkies and rock and roll." And that sums it all up. Plus, it makes people laugh because it's so goofy and serious at the same time, like metal concerts. But the thing was, is that I wanted people to laugh and have a good time and have an experience of getting fangs that they'll never forget, and that is really my main goal.
And
I
from
froze for a
that,
second.
you good?
Yeah,
You
I'm good.
frozen? Okay. And from that endless night, the beautiful balls and salons that you literally do all over the world. So there is a place for people can go, and it's again, I've been to many, many, many of them all across the country and even in Europe, and they are magic in themselves. Some people you can go, oh, it's a dress up. Everybody dresses up to the nines, and it's a great entertainment and great music and dancing, but it's so much more.
Yeah, I put together a really good team and refined the events over the years. Um, my first year of making fangs was 1995, and that was the year that Bram Stoker's Dracula just came out in 92. Interview with the Vampire came out in 94. So two of the best vampire movies in history just had come out, and I got an invitation to go to the Anne Rice Vampire Lestat fan club Memnock Ball at St. Elizabeth's Orphanage in New Orleans, and that I tell you changed my life again. I had a formidable experience, and the whole show was like from Anne Rice's entrance to the Victorian dancing to the rooms of violinists. It was the biggest and best vampire ball I've ever been to, and I will tell you, it cannot be replicated. That experience was the right time and the right location and made New Orleans a vampire city. New Orleans was really not a vampire city before that, and before Anne Rice. And Egyptian theology, Cometicism was also not involved in vampirism until Anne Rice. So those are two things: New Orleans and the Cometicism, or like Akasha, is the queen of the vampires, and she is Elia played her great in Queen of the Damned. I wasn't very fond of that Lestat, but he did an okay job.
No?
Yeah, he did an okay job.
Hmm.
But the vampire narrative was shaped through the movies. The glamour of the vampire was shaped through cinema. And there's hundreds of vampire films out there. If you look at Wikipedia, you'll just get lost in the number of vampire movies. And I'll tell you, the vampires have changed my life. And it was my calling. It was my duty to come and create a vampire culture.
Right. And it is a beautiful and it's an elegant culture, I must say. That is one thing, whether it's in the movies, in books, it's this elegance that goes along with the vampire culture. This we have high tea, we do things like that. It's so you even said these balls, don't people love that we're coming? We're not going to be like a mosh pit where everybody, trashes the joint. Quite the opposite.
Security guards fight over who's going to work our events.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they love the events. The security guards think that the crowd is the most well-behaved, mature, chill crowd they've ever met, and who tip and are polite.
Hmm.
So bartenders love our events, and it's really cute to see a lot of the bartenders in New Orleans go, "Are you from Endless Night?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Oh, your people are so polite and kind." I don't want to compare it, but they're kind of like Swifties.
Which we had a competition with this last year in New Orleans.
Yeah,
We
we had to do
did.
Dia de Muertos on the 2nd of November, while Taylor Swift took Halloween weekend.
Yeah. But it was great. It was absolutely perfect. The big ball every year is New Orleans, right? Because it's like 5 days of events. I've been going, well, since I've known you. And the Dia de los Muertos was beautiful, the whole Day of the Dead. So,
Absolutely, it was the probably the best dressed crowd we had in years.
yeah.
And
We have,
what's what's
go
that?
ahead. No, I was like,
One of the things that I like about the Endless Night is it represents every form of vampirism out there. And we have a rule in the party that you're not allowed to do anything but ambient feed. Blood drinking is takeout only. Um, and the psychic vampirism, please keep it ambient. So energy vampires, psychic vampires, basically have three modes of feeding. Three modes of feeding. And there's ambient, which is like you go to a concert or a rally or shopping mall or big group of busy city street, an airport. You can take the energy that's kind of in a cloud above everybody, and that's fair game. Um, then there's surface feeding, which is from the skin up, feeding off the aura, the amount of like heat coming off a body. You kind of like take that, but do not penetrate the skin. And then there's the third form, which is deep feeding, which is feeding basically from the chakras or the core of the person, which needs consent and education.
see, now I am a vampire. I claim to be a vampire. I'm a vampire witch. I do not drink blood. Except my own on occasion. I cut myself. I bled my tools. I do all sorts of things, but I do not. But I do feed on life. To me, that's how I see it. It's just that embracing. It's like dialing it up to 120% how we escape. That's how I see the vampire world to me. So, what exactly is to you a vampire witch?
A vampire witch is well, let's start with the three base types of vampires. There's energy vampires known as psychic vampires. There's a whole variety of subcategories under that. Then there's uh sanguine vampires, which are energy or they drink blood. They feel they need to drink blood. There's no evidence scientifically about this, but there's a whole variety. There's a group called MedSangs who believe that they need it for their health. Then there's Energy Sangs who think that they get energy from the person when they drink their blood. There's a whole variety of them, just like there's a whole variety of psychic vampires. There's ethical psychic vampires, unethical psychic vampires. It's a big cocktail, but these two, sanguine and psychics, are the foundations. And then there's archetypical vampires, which are known as lifestylers, and they are the ones that sleep in coffins and dress up and like live the vampire life. But the thing is you can be a combination of all three. I like to see myself as all three in one.
Okay. All right. Crossover. Yeah, I don't sleep in a coffin. I don't drink blood, but I do claim to be a vampire witch. Again, very similar.
Oh,
The magic. Hmm?
so the witchcraft thing is a vampire witch is usually a woman. Okay, you can have male vampire witches. We prefer to call them warlocks. Um, and the the witches mix traditional witchcraft in with vampirism. Now I've taken over Patty's show.
Ah, the vampires have taken
I
over.
took
I
over.
was kicked out of the room.
All
Are we
right.
back? I don't know. I think
Yeah, we're
we have
live
wind
online.
going
Timothy
on.
Smith just text us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Um,
Cool.
yeah, because what I see, whatever you call yourself, warlock, witch, vampire witch, I do know the rituals are beautiful. And I do know we've been a ball going upstairs or a salon, some of the smaller events, and we're literally doing these beautiful rituals, down in the basement or things, and they're so life affirming, just life embracing. And again, not anything that does not coincide with my very high ethical standards.
Yeah, absolutely. And the one of the main things that I like to say is that I practice a tradition of vampirism called Strigavai, which I've introduced you to, which means living vampire witch.
Yeah.
And it deals with becoming a more immortal using magic and ritual and stuff like that. There's no children and there's no blood in our rituals.
Yeah.
So, and we stay within the law. We do everything legally by the book, but they're very theatrical. And the uh, the traditions come from many different places. So as people get fangs and some of them proceed to go into the vampire magic category, or they're already practicing magic, and you can find out about all that stuff in my book Black Veils,
Yeah. It's a beautiful
which
book. I highly recommend it. It explains a little bit of everything on how
yeah,
it is. And
it's got a little magic. So you pick and choose what you feel connected to.
yeah.
But the vampire witchcraft is a natural progression. The vampire witch is a natural combination. It's the vampire community is evolving and changing like the vampire scene
Mhm.
is. And about 10 years ago, vampirism and witchcraft began a pretty strong crossover. And some vampires don't like the witches, and some witches don't like the vampires, but it's a natural evolution. And it's usually practice of psychic vampirism mixed with lifestyler, and on top of that, some different bells and whistles from different traditions.
So just like in Christianity, just like in witchcraft, there are different traditions that different
Absolutely.
groups or families or it's awesome.
The vampire community in the 90s was in its embryonic stages and up until
A
94.
long time. Again, your life and beyond
Yeah.
known and
I've taken over Patty's podcast again.
he does it. I go to talk and I'm gone. Oh, those vampires are so powerful. So anyway, so I
Ooh,
know I've been places where you are certainly recognized, and it's not like somebody might recognize Brad Pitt or on a much smaller scale me. It's you are this beautiful leader and stuff. So that must have a lot of positive benefits and some perhaps drawbacks as well. I know there's
yeah.
urban legends out there in every which way. The good ones that you are this god on a mountain can do anything, and some not so good ones.
Well, I'm very much a human being with a soul that's a little bit different from the average human. Um, there's a lot of misconceptions about what I'm doing, and there's a lot of people that like to trash my name because they feel they can climb up the ladder and whatnot and attack my character. But I've survived everything. And I have an announcement to say right here and right now. Patty,
Okay.
you've known about this for a little while, but I actually got diagnosed with Parkinson's disease about 4 years ago.
Mm.
And it's been a life-changing event. My partner Joy says it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I've become more humble and less rock and roll. um, but it's been a journey, and I've had ups and downs and whatnot. And now that I'm starting to be visible and people can see me in person, they start asking questions. So I just want to let you guys know it's not a death sentence. I'm not going to die anytime soon. I'm not going to die from Parkinson's, and I'm not going to stop making fangs or throwing parties. I'm going to go as long as I can, and it's 4 years in. I'm still rocking it. We've had one of our best years last year, and my partner Joy is very much taking on a lot of the burden of the events, and we're moving the offices to Las Vegas this summer. Better taxes in California, sadly.
Even vampires have to pay taxes.
Yes, they're in a human shell, and since it's not a death sentence, I thought my life was over when I got it. I got diagnosed, and I got diagnosed at 46 years old. I'm 50 now, and I'm still killing it. And
You are.
I love life, and I love engaging in life, and I love um, running events and activities. But people started noticing in the last year that my hand was twitching or my walk was stiff. Um, but like most things that take me down or try to take me down, I find a way back up. So
Yeah.
I decided to do a foundation like Michael
Yeah.
J.
Tell us.
Fox and Muhammad Ali and Ozzy Osbourne doesn't have a foundation. But like those three gentlemen, I got diagnosed in my 40s. Um, was it Michael J. Fox was diagnosed at 29, um, which was crazy, and he's been the biggest leader of trying to get this the Michael J. Fox Foundation. So what I've done is I've created a foundation that we're incorporating this year called Rock to Cure Parkinson's. And Rock to Cure Parkinson's is a charity that is designed to raise money for the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which is doing a superb job, and to raise money for them so we can go forward and with rock and roll and a new way of advocacy, educate people on what Parkinson's is, and also raise money at the same time. So there's two goals with that. And April 12th, 2026 is our goal to run our first festival, Rock to Cure Parkinson's Festival. And I want to mobilize everybody I can to help get this horrible disease that is just a pain in the ass. It's a fucking
Literally.
pain in the ass. Um, some research and cure for that. Last year we had a lot of um, four new therapies came online, and also what else? We had two different machines that are kind of like what are the insulin pumps
Hmm.
that deliver medicine all the time. And Parkinson's, like I said, is not a death sentence by any means. I actually met a guy who was 93 years old. He's had Parkinson's since he was 25.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There's Parkinson. The Parkinson's community is one of the most open-minded, wonderful communities I've ever met. Just good people, good times, and they like to make fun of their disease because thing. And I've met some really amazing people through the Parkinson's community. And this is the first time I'm addressing this online to the witchcraft and vampire community. Guys, don't worry, I'm not going to die. There were some urban legends going around that I was going to die or in 3 years. That's not the case. There's wonderful treatments out there like deep brain stimulation and sonic ultrasound. Um, like deep brain stimulation and sonic ultrasound. There's more drugs coming on the market, and Parkinson's is basically the reason why people shake and they move is because their dopamine productions in a place called the basal ganglia uh, stops making dopamine. And today I heard a new about nanobites that are going to go into your brain and fix the problems with the Parkinson's, and will be available in 3 or 4 years. So I'll definitely see a cure or a massive reversible treatment in my lifetime.
Definitely. Definitely. I see it. I've always known it. I'm psychic, and I see you. We work out every day. We go up to Lake Hollywood. We work out. You keep up with everything. So what's next? What's coming up next?
Well, we have the Vegas Vampire Ball, Endless Night Vegas, which will take place on May 3rd. Joy Felicity is working very hard at the local community to rock it out. I will be there. A bunch of Patty will be there, and it's going to be great. We're at the old Lexi Hotel, which used to be the Artisan, RIP Artisan, because they gutted it, and it's not as nice, but it's still got the energy of our home.
Good.
And that's going to be a really great event. We've got Savannah Fox, a friend of mine from the UK who moved to Las Vegas, is going to be our lead actress, our lead performer, and we have the Lexi Hotel as our headquarters hotel, and this is our first event in Vegas as a full-fledged Vegas company.
That's beautiful. That's great. I'm going to be doing a seance.
Yes, and we have a pool party in the afternoon, so people can come in their bathing suits to a seance.
So what? Yeah, they come in bathing suits to my seance. So now we're just breaking all those stereotypes. Vampires of Vegas? Yes.
Yeah,
We
there's a lot of urban legends that are going around. People like to make stuff up
yeah. And I've
and come up.
seen vampires eat garlic too.
That's my favorite. I love garlic pizza.
Me too. Oh, so anyway, how can people find out more about you, about the balls coming up and the events? So you have the balls or the big balls. You have salons that are little. You have, how does that work out? What people have
The
everywhere?
balls are usually very large events. They're very big. The ball is usually 500 to 1,000 people. We don't like to
Mhm.
make it more than 1,000 because we like to be able to have it more intimate, a sense of intimacy and undergroundness there. But our last Tampa ball last year, we had 1,500 people and we turned away 450 people in dress code.
Wow.
And New Orleans sold out, Vegas sold out, not Vegas.
Salem.
The LA ball did really well compared to the Fires,
Yeah,
and
just
we
after the
really rocked
fires.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, so where can people find out where to come to these things? Because they're everywhere.
Endless Night is endlessnight.com. It's not endlessnights.com, endlessnight.com. You can find out all about the events and you can buy tickets there through Eventbrite. The second place that you can find is fathersebastian.com, where my books on my fan making are. And then the third place that you can find about how to support Rock to Cure Parkinson's is rocktocureparkinsons.com, or .org, and also Rock to Cure Parkinson's on Instagram.
Perfect.
And I
So
post a
like
lot of value stuff. I had a experience where I, can you hear that?
no, but start over because it went
Okay.
blank.
I had a great experience this last November where I actually got to meet Ozzy Osbourne himself, who has had Parkinson's for 23 years. He got diagnosed in 2003 and he's still rocking it. And he's 78 years old, I believe. And he's still killing it with Rock to Cure Parkinson's. He's rocking the Cure Parkinson's.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, congratulations on doing that. That is really great because um, I want you better. I want everybody who has it better, and you're gonna get better because I know these things. So you
Well,
guys check them out. Mhm.
let me just let you guys know that Parkinson's is the fastest growing neurological disease after Alzheimer's, but there's more hope than there is for Alzheimer's because there's a lot more technology that's going into it. And we already have therapies that have been going on for years to be able to manage it. Stem cells and all sorts of things are coming online very soon. So if you get Parkinson's or you want to get tested to get Parkinson's, I suggest you do it if your family has genetics in your family. And mine just came about for whatever reason it came about. But be aware that it's not a death sentence, and it's really important to know that the people that have Parkinson's need love and support,
Yeah.
and to be able to do
Amen.
things. So I created Rock to Cure Parkinson's so I could actually do things, do something about it, and it's
Beautiful.
bringing
And
together a whole bunch of great people.
I know this has been a passion of yours. This nonprofit has been a passion and it's really good. And I am proud of you. I don't know if it's the best thing that ever happened to you, like Joy says, but yeah, you're an amazing
He's just thinking
human.
positive.
I like it. You're an amazing human, and I've known you for a long time, and I'm really picky about amazing humans. So I want to say you are. I'm honored to be your friend and partner in our school. We have our school
Oh
together,
yeah, we have a lot of
University
projects going on.
Magicus project. I talk about all the time. This is my partner. He teaches vampire magic and vampirism on Wednesdays, where I'm teaching witchcraft and mediumship on Tuesdays. And we have other amazing teachers from many different paths and from literally all over the world. Our teachers are everywhere now. So check it
Absolutely.
out. So
So,
endlessnight.com. Mhm.
so what I want to do is I want to introduce everybody to our battle cry: Rock to Cure Parkinson's.
Okay, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Rock to cure
Rock to Cure
Parkinson's.
Parkinson's.
Rock to cure Parkinson's. I like
Rock
it.
and roll.
Do it, everybody. Thank you for bringing your beautiful magic to the witching hour,
My pleasure,
ladies.
Patty.
Bye.
Great. Let's run through the commercial quickly.
Okay, so now I'm going to say this week on the witching hour, we have, I will say, Fang Smith, impresario of Endless Night Vampire Balls, my best friend, the one and only Father Sebastian. And then I'm going to say, what are we going to talk about this week, Sebastian? And you could say, vampire witches, what it is, endless night balls. You have an announcement to make. It's a little 30-second teaser, so just 3-4 lines.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So we just go.
I brushed my hair like Rob asked me to.
Oh, that's nice. He's a good producer. He's a good producer.
He is. He's very
Uh,
good.
okay. Hey, everybody. This week on the Witching Hour, he is a fangsmith. He is an impresario of the Endless Night Vampire Balls. He is my best friend, the one and only Father Sebastian. Welcome, Sebastian.
Thank you for having me again, Patty. This is like my third time on the show after
I
being on
know,
your
I
pilot
know.
episode.
You're very special. So what are we going to talk about this time?
We're going to talk about the Vegas Vampire Ball. We're going to talk about vampire witches. And I have a special announcement to make that you guys might be interested in hearing about.
I think we have to do that again, right? I went blank. We lost it, right? I went blank. I mean,
Just do
we're going
the
to do
end.
that again. Just to the end? So I'll say from what are we going to talk about? So what are we going to talk about this time, Sebastian?
We're going to talk about our reborn Vegas Vampire Ball, an endless night in Las Vegas at the Fremont Country Club on May 3rd. We're going to talk about vampire witches, and I have a very special announcement to make that is going to be life-changing for a lot of people who don't know about it.
Okay. You don't want to miss it. See you on the Witching Hour.